Whoa, man. Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Here we are, end of 2020. This is the last day of the year, and I woke up this morning and did not realize it until a couple hours into the morning. Um, while to say the least, this year has been something else, and not just for us, but for the whole world. And I wanted to kind of reflect a little bit on the year and some of the things that we went through, some of the things that we learned, and really hopefully to encourage you um, to go into the new year with some perspective, with maybe some inspiration, and maybe just like, fresh eyes. And first off, I want to say I don't know why I'm dressed this way. It just kind of happened that I'm wearing black and a couple of different brands. So, but I wanted to take some time and kind of just talk about how our year went and some of the things that we've kind of gleaned on the past, the past 365 days. But yeah, so to start the year off, we just went into it, I think, normally with everyone else in this world. Um, really excited about 2020, and we own our own business, and this is our office. This is my part of the office here, and we just kind of put our heads down and went to work. We're helping our clients, and so I think we were really, really excited about the year. And then we started hearing, about COVID-19, the coronavirus, and we subscribed to the idea that our life and the trajectory of our life is always dependent upon our perspective, and we have control over what happens. And I think a lot of people realize this year that they don't control a lot of things. And so March happened, and lockdowns happened, and not really much changed for us. We work from home. We spend our days with our daughters and here at the office, and so yeah, you know, uh, we just kind of trucked along. We kept working. We kept helping our clients. Kept creating for them and all of that. And never once did we really buy into a fear mentality, or from a spiritual sense. We never really bought into a fear-based thought process. And so we just kept doing our thing. And um, towards the summer, things got a little hard because family dynamics and things like that. And we all experienced loss this year. I've known some people who have passed, some people who are close, and I've I have friends who've known people who've passed, and it's heartbreaking, and it helps you kind of. This year has been a year of kind of like an awakening, and and when someone passes, is heartbreaking. And we're believers, and we believe that when people who believe move on, they move on to a much better place than we're currently in. And this is our personal belief that where they go is a place of wholeness and completeness. And so there's a sense of loss, and there's also a sense of like joy and hope. But we understand that there's a grieving, and and so this year has been a year of processing a lot of those feelings, processing um, a lot of feelings. And we all know that this year for America, for sure, and the world, is a process. We're processing a lot of things. We're being thrown a lot of different things to process, and some people are at a place to be able to handle that, And there's some things that were thrown at us that it took some time for us to process. It took some time for us to um, get our minds wrapped around what is going on, right? And so yeah, and we are in a place where we have a choice, right? Do we stay where we are? Do we move forward? And then how do we move forward? How do we, in this current climate that we're in, when it comes to the United States, when it comes to the place that we live, when it comes to the world, how do we move forward? What's the best way to move forward? And I think that's a big question for a lot of people, is like, what do I even do next? Like, what's going to be around the corner? What's going to happen tomorrow when the clock rolls over to 2021? And there's all the memes, there's all the jokes and stuff about just slowly easing into 2021. Don't call it your year. And what I would encourage you to think about is it is your year. Today is your day. December 31st is your day. You woke up, Grace woke you up this morning. Like, today is your day. Today is my day. I get to decide what happens next based off of my perspective of what's currently happening, right? And so think about that. What can I do right now that's going to affect what happens next? How can I view what's coming at me that's going to determine how I walk into the next moment? And when you start thinking about that way of situations or circumstances that come at you in life, your perspective on how you respond to that moment determines what's going to happen next. And so it's this loop of, you can't control what happens to you in life, right? But you get to decide on how you respond, which in turn determines what happens next. Your response to what happened determines what happens. And that's kind of how we live. That's kind of how we, now, did we make every decision right this year? Did we handle every situation correctly? No, we're not perfect. There's no way. But the big thing is understanding that even in the losses, whether it be business losses, whether it be relationship losses, whether it be a loss of a family member or someone who's close to you because of what's happening in this world, how you respond determines how you move into the next moment, and how you mentally and emotionally handle the next time something comes at you, right? And so this year has been a year of just reflection. We had ample time this year to sit down with ourselves and really figure out who we are, what we want, and what we want to see. What do we want to see? If you had a moment where you're just like, man, I really wish it wasn't like this, and I wish it was like this. If you had those moments, then you're on the right track, because you're starting to critically think through how you want things to end up in your life. And I want to encourage you is that you have that ability, right? You have that in you to determine how you want your life to look like, what you want it to look like, how you want to feel in that moment. And this year has been a year of just like a wake-up call, like a slap to the face, Chuck Norris roundhouse kick to the face, whatever you want to call it. It has been that year, and it's an awakening. And I hope that it woke you up. I hope that this year and all the things that happened, whether it be in the health of the world, whether it be the political climate of this world, of this country that we live in right now, I hope that it woke you up to something. I hope that it taught you a lesson. And whether you won big this year or you lost big, that you learn something that's going to help you move forward into 2021, right? So, so the other thing too that I want to talk about is some kind of like guiding posts for us, or guiding principles for us moving into 2021 that Melissa and I have really sat down and chatted about and talked about. And I'll be really super vulnerable with you guys. Is that this year has been a revealing year for me. It's been a, let's pull back the veil, let's rip the veil off the old eyes, and let's look at really what's going on deep down, right? And so this year has been a year of that. And one of the deep, very, very deep things that I have realized in my life is the realization of all the decisions in my life that have been based off of fear of failure, of not doing certain things because of my fear of failing. I'm being really vulnerable and opening my heart up to you guys, and so I hope this helps you. I have in my life not done things that I knew that I was supposed to do in my heart, because I was afraid of failing. And it really necessarily wasn't because I was afraid of you seeing me fail, but I was afraid of me experiencing me failing. And that's a different type of feeling. That's a different type of, I'm not necessarily concerned about whether you know that I failed or not. It's about me. I have an expectation for myself. And if I am afraid that I cannot meet that expectation, I will abandon whatever that is. And that's hard. That was really, really hard for me to come to realize, especially in my age. I'm young, but I'm not that young. And so in going in my past mentally and seeing all the decisions that I did not make, I made a decision by not making a decision, right? Because I was afraid that I was going to disappoint myself, right? And that was hard. That was some crying moments. That was some like kicking myself and realizing that, man, things could have been different, but that's okay. And so here's the thing: is I'm not going to live in the past, right? I'm not going to focus on my past 5 years or 10 years. What am I going to do? I'm going to switch that around. I'm going to take captive that thought and be like, yeah, you know what? That sucked. But I have control over making decisions for the next 5 years. I have control over making the choice to recognize the fear of failure in that moment and take that step forward and say, you know what? Let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens whenever I actually take the step, do the thing, so on and so on. And so that was a big thing for me this year. That was a big like wake up call, right? The veil was pulled off of my eyes, and I was able to really see a deep kind of dark part of my heart, a block that, or a wall that was stopping me from moving forward on some things that I really wanted to see happen. And so what I want to do is encourage you guys moving into this next year is something that has helped me. And we've kind of started already implementing that now, and especially for the next quarter, the next 3 months. So starting tomorrow and moving in, is what are some five, like let's say 5 things, five, or make it 3, or make it 1. Sometimes you just need to do with 1. What's one thing, or a multiple set of things that you can strategically focus on, that's going to make you just a little bit better, that's going to push you just a little bit up the ladder, or just a little, like an inch forward in life, right? What's one thing, 2 things, 3 things, whatever, but let's focus on one thing, right? That's going to push you just a little bit. Not necessarily this big massive win and this big goal, like I'm gonna lose 100 pounds. That's great, but let's go lose 1 pound. Let's focus on the disciplines that need to happen to lose the 1 pound. And then let's just repeat that, right? or you have an income goal, right? So what's one thing that you can focus on right now that's going to push you just a little bit to meet that income goal for the year? All right. So focus, like laser focus on just that one little thing that's going to get you to the next little bit further, incremental, which is very, very small incremental increases in productivity and efficiency. Whether it be, I need to go for a 30-minute walk today. If that's pushing the needle forward for you, go do that thing and focus on just doing that every day, every day, every day. And then you'll see what happens by the end of the year. You're 10%, you're 20%, you're 50%, you're 75% better than you were January 1, right? And that's the beauty of small incremental focusing, laser focusing on those habits or those disciplines, whatever you want to call it. And so that's my encouragement to you guys, is that. And then the other thing too is really take some time alone, in the quietness, in the stillness, in the wilderness. Like if you need to go out in the woods, go out in the woods and be alone, and put your phone down, leave your phone in the car, like get it, take some paper with you if you need to, write some stuff down, and be by yourself. Our phones, our devices aren't keeping us from other people, they're keeping us from ourselves. And when you realize that, you start to wonder, who am I without this thing? Who am I? I'm actually recording on my phone right now. So it's like, who am I without this device? That's a big question. You have to think about that, of who are you without this phone in your hand, in your pocket, on you all the time? I'm a photographer, so I love having my phone on me because I can take photos all the time. But instead, what if I put the phone down and grab this, right? It's a 35 millimeter film camera where I take the photo and I cannot see what the photo is on the back. So what if I took this out, which I do, and just went what we call analog? This is full on analog, right? I have to get the focus right? I have to get the aperture right, and making sure that everything's set. There's nothing on here that's auto, right? And so what if I put my phone down and find out, who am I without my phone when it comes to being a photographer? And who am I without my phone for my family? And so I encourage you to put your phone down, put your devices down, and get alone, get by yourself, and figure out, who am I? And what do I want? What do I want for 2021? And what's some things that I can implement discipline-wise that's going to push me just a little bit closer to that part of my life that I want to see, come to fruition. Because here's the thing, I'll leave you with this. And thank you for watching. If you've watched this far, I appreciate it. I'll leave you with this. You are the only creature on the face of the planet that has the ability to imagine a future for itself and then go out and create it. Think about that. You have the ability to imagine what you want your life to look like, and then to go out and create it. And I would encourage you to start small and imagine how you want your day to be, and reverse engineer that and figure out what you need to do, what you personally need to do, not what somebody else does, not what this says or that says, but what do you need to do to make that day happen for you? And then do it again and do it again, and then get bigger, think bigger. How do I want this to look like? What do I want this to look like? And to go out and physically, mentally, and emotionally create that for yourself, because you have that ability. So go into 2021 with some vision. Go into 2021 with, I would like for it to look like this, regardless of what's happening politically, regardless of what's happening when it comes to the health crisis, regardless of all of those things. What do I want my personal day to look like, my personal life to look like? And then create that. And just know that you're loved and you're accepted, and that you're an amazing person, and that there's somebody out there that loves you. And if there isn't, God loves you, He created you. He calls you son. He calls you daughter. He calls you friend. And he wants you to be happy. He wants you to have a fulfilled life. Jesus died on the cross so you could have a fulfilled life. It may not look great. It may not look perfect. But if you focus on those things, focus on the fact that Jesus died for you so that you could be happy and whole and hopeful and fulfilled, man, that's awesome. And he made you to be an amazing person, and he has there's a plan for you, there's a purpose for you. And so just know that. Go into 2021 and focus and be fearless and create and know that you're loved and accepted. Thank you, guys. I hope this video finds you well. And if it doesn't, I hope that it makes you start thinking about how to make yourself well. Thank you guys so much. I love you, and I'll see you in 2021.